in the past, see what strategy were used, what was done, and we may have to recreate or update some things for the present. So that's for the reason why I have that. So, okay. So again, Reconstruction. What do y'all know about Reconstruction? What do you know about Reconstruction? How about this? Just take a look at that picture right there. Those two pictures right there. What do you see when you see Reconstruction?
Frederick Douglass.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the other guys, I want to say Graham Bell, what's his name? Bell something. Only one I'm familiar with is Frederick Douglass.
Is the other one Black Bruce?
Yes.
I read ahead.
And who's the other one then?
I don't know.
Highland Rebels. The first two black U.S. senators in Mississippi. Highland Rebels took Jefferson Davis' place in the U.S. Senate in Mississippi. Jefferson Davis, the former president of the Confederate States of America, which was created in the state capitol in Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah. There's other things you see too, like other thing you see pictures of Union soldiers, black Union soldiers. It's a commemorative decoration of really black folks getting their freedom and exercising being a citizen, right? And what's the other picture you see?
The Klan?
Yes. That's the backlash.
From people fighting for their rights.
Well, in Reconstruction, yeah, but also in Reconstruction, they're actually living life as free people. I mean, how is it? We're going to. We're going to. So, yeah, we can do that. So, let's just go into this. And I'll keep it.
Deep dive. We ready for the deep dive?
Deep dive. Here's the thing. And let me say this. The Civil War is very... See, people don't study Civil War that much anymore. And they should. I love the Civil War. Mostly because... And what I'm trying to teach my class... I tried to teach my class in my U.S. history class last semester was that, hey, look, for slavery to end, it's going to be violent. And what people don't understand is you had abolitionists who were... They believe in nonviolence. And there are some abolitionists who were... No, in order to end slavery, it has to be violent. You had black and white abolitionists who say, look, in order to end slavery, you got to have another revolution, which was a civil war. And it wasn't just Nat Turner, yes, because using violence, yes. Theodore Parker, and who funded John Brown and the John Brown raid in Harper's Ferry. You had that. And they had to run for, You had the Civil War. It was bound to happen, and you had it. And let's be real here. Southerners get whooped. The Southerners get whooped. The Civil War. Let me say this, because you got to talk. You can't separate Reconstruction from Civil War. You can't. The one thing that comes out of this Civil War is this. Yes, you have the 13th Amendment. Black folks want to get their freedom. Well, black men got their freedom because they were running and they joined the Union, right? And they fought in the war. Another thing, the South gets whooped. Plain and simple. And the South is destroyed. This is what the South looks like. That picture right there.
Look like Germany.
Yes. Here's the thing. Let me answer this question. Imagine you're a Southern white person. You never owned a slave, but you always believed that you were superior to black folk because their identity was always to be enslaved. Right? Imagine that one day a law was passed, which is the 13th Amendment, saying slavery is over, and we have to reconstruct America. That's what you reconstruct America and rebuild America. And you have to recognize these people who were once slaves as citizens. How do you think you would feel? How would you feel about that? If you're a Southern white person, you only believe that black folk were inferior. But now you have to identify him as your equal. And he used to be your slave. and you lost the war. How would you feel? Yeah, that's
Totally defeated.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How would you feel? You don't have an answer?
I don't typically like to put myself in the shoes of white folks.
Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
I would be down pretty bad.
Yeah.
I would be down real bad. I would be hurting.
Okay, yeah, I hear that. How would you feel, Dallas?
I would feel like, well, yeah, I hate to put my shoes, put myself in the shoes of a white person, but I feel like I would feel like, I don't know, if I'm like not wanting change and if I don't want to see black people as superior or equal, then I don't know how, I guess I'm just not trying to have that. I'm just trying to keep it the same in slavery, I guess. I don't know. But if I was a black person, I would be like, I love black people, so I would be happy to change the reconstruction or have reconstruction and everything. But I'm sure that wasn't what they were thinking.
Okay. How would you feel, Robert? Oh, no, he's under the weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think it's another person who came in. Who else came in? No, that's fine. You can move on to that. Oh, that's you. Okay, that's right. Oh, that's fine. But no, you can go ahead and move. Your world will turn upside down.
Seemingly overnight.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You lost the war. That man who was your slave came back and had guns and says, slave on top now, master. Slave on, as what it said, right?
I think their mind would have instantly started to ponder the ways in which they could control power.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's someone who used to be their property and posed a significant interest in as far as an investment.
Yes.
So they're like, oh man, how do I protect this and all that I've known, including my property?
Yeah. And then you realize, slaveholders, they only represent 5-6% of the population, but yet they own 90% of the wealth in the South.
Oh my God, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know, the ruling class. Yeah, I know. Class plays a huge part. If you want a great book to read, number one book I would say read, and it's a read, W.E.B. Du Bois' Black Reconstruction, which has a great class analysis because at that time, Du Bois, by 1930s, was shifting towards being a socialist, and of course, he becomes a true Pan-Africanist, a real true Pan-Africanist this time.
You said Black Reconstruction?
Black Reconstruction. And it's a thick book now because that's Du Bois. Du Bois is
No stone unturned.
exactly, and we all talk about the debate between Booker T, but you have to identify Du Bois as one of the greatest minds in academia. You can't play. His you got to do that. But that book is essential to read, very essential to read. But no, your world will turn upside down, and you'll be fear that you have nothing. And, you go ahead and turn the
Hello.
Oh, are you here?
Come on,
What about poli-sci majors? Pre-law majors. No, your work will turn upside down. You have a fear that your wife will run off, probably with a black male. Yes, they thought this.
That's crazy.
At that time period, they thought this. Yeah, that's very fair. But no, your whole work upside down. So here's the thing. Now, you can go ahead and turn the slide. And I have to change this too. Oh, yeah, I have to change this one too. Yeah. So, yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You can do that. Now, here's the thing. How would you, and this is for y'all just in case. I just hand out for y'all. Now the thing. Now you gotta put in policy. Okay, cool. There you go. And she's pre-law, poli-sci pre-law. So this is, to know these laws back then. This is perfect for you because now you get to see how the Supreme Court really treat folks in the time there, right? Which is like that. So here's the plan for Reconstruction. And in Lincoln, first of all, Abraham Lincoln And his idea was he had 10% plan. He only want 10% of the voters return to the Union with amnesty, swearing allegiance. Here's the thing: they don't want no pro-Confederate people coming back to the Union unless you swear allegiance to the Union and you won't secede from the Union again. Benjamin Davis and Laura Wade or Congress said, no, that's not enough. That's not enough. If any former Confederate does not put allegiance to the Union, they cannot vote. You know, white men in the South, if you were so pro-Confederate, you couldn't vote. You're not allowed to vote. Yep. Redistribution. They say, hey, look, you got all these slaves here. They work these lands. Let's start redistributing some of the land here towards slaves so they can have no land, right? This is where you get 40 acres a mule. Now, of course, you have General William Sherman, who had a meeting with the black folks, black leaders. He said, look, and anybody know William T. Sherman? He was a Union soldier via Sherman's March. Burnt down Georgia, South Carolina, because South Carolina seceded from the Union first. And Georgia followed, so he wanted to make them out to be examples, right? That's who he was. He said, hey, look, what do y'all want? And a black minister said, look, we want our rights. We want rights. We want land. And really just want y'all to leave us alone. And that's all. So he said, okay, cool. Fine, I got you. Special Order 15. Your 40 acres a mule. You know, Spike Lee's film cup. Yeah, that's where it comes on. You get your mule, your 40 acres of plot of land. All that comes out of this Wade Davis bill that's passed in Congress. All this was to aid former slaves. What you see here now is redistribution of land and social programs for free people. I mean, you'll get, you know, today they'll call it, no, that's not like welfare. No, this is because they will do the same thing for immigrants when they come to this country to go out west. Yeah, the land limit act, yes. They do the same thing for here. And this is major. Here are the plans for Reconstruction. The plan for Reconstruction is this, and these are Republicans, by the way. These are Republicans. This is what they're doing. They're actually, part of Reconstruction is redistribution of land and wealth and social programs for black folks. Why? Because they were slaves and they had nothing. And give them something. That's what this stuff is. So this is the plan that's actually coming out. These are one of the many laws that are coming out during Reconstruction to aid education, poverty, employment, etc. And this is Blackfoot inside of the whole South, right? Okay, cool, yes. One of it is the Freedmen's Bureau. That's General O.O. Howard, Oliver Otis Howard. He is the director of the Freedmen's Bureau. Of course, Howard University is named after him. I know, yeah, I know. It's not a good history, particularly when he kills and slaughters indigenous people, but we don't go there. But what you have here is called the Freedmen's Bureau and the American Missionary Association. What you now have right here is the Northerners, missionaries, getting involved in Reconstruction, creating these social benefits programs for black folks in the South, for education. And they mostly they're building schools. Why? Because part of the root of being a citizen is education. You gotta learn how to read and write, how you pay bills. It's very important. So you have these things that are now being created. These things. The American Missionary Institution, they're coming down south, but they're not only teaching black folk how to read, they're also teaching Southern whites how to read, because the literacy rate is also high among them as well. What you now begin to see is social programs being created in the South that's benefiting the free people, emancipated people, and also poor whites. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's how it is, yeah. And it comes, yeah, there you go, thank you. It comes to this. The meaning of freedom. Now, let me say this because a lot of historians, I'm a historian by trade, right? So a lot of historians are arguing back and forth. How do black folks define freedom? There's some historians who say that, well, they don't know how black folks, some black folks didn't know freedom. All they knew was slavery, all they knew was plantations, and they stayed on the plantations, right? I just wrote an article for National Park Service. I'm working with my colleague, David Terry, Roger Davidson, and Tamara Brown on the Civil War and Reconstruction in Antietam, the Battle of Antietam, in the Black experience. And the one thing I wrote in there was, during the readings, that black folks, they always knew what the meaning of freedom was. They couldn't just practice it because, number one, the war. Two, they had no resources. The only thing they knew was how to survive. They understood freedom. They would love to have their own land, their own trade, everything else. However, for jobs and financial means, the one thing they knew was being a servant plant. So they stayed there. Yet, while they stayed there, they created institutions where they can practice their whole freedom. And a lot of historians challenge the notion that black folks didn't know what freedom was. They knew what it was. It was difficult to practice because they didn't have the resources to do so. And this is what freedom meant for them. Control over your families and institutions, meaning your church and your schools, meaning mostly men, black men, being a father to their children and a husband to their wives. And wives being, and a woman being a wife to her husband, and of course, at that time, and a mother to their children. They didn't want no white interference whatsoever. None whatsoever. Economic dependence on land. That was very, 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 very important. They wanted their own land. They wanted their own resources. Remember, these are southern rural folks. And if you know about, and one thing, I've been living here for 10 years, 11 years, right? And one thing I know is this area is very rural. Folks know farming. Yeah. And then they know farming. So that's where they want to make, that was their economic independence within the land itself, right? And that's also part of Booker T. Washington's vision. You know that history about Booker T. Washington, the idea of land ownership, farming, agriculture, etc. You know, the whole purpose of the Farmers Conference was really about how to use the soil to grow crops and also own the land itself, which is really how you create black towns. Everybody used that model. That's what, for rural black folk, that is what they wanted. That's what they envisioned. That's what they envisioned. And of course, they wanted to vote. Why? Because that's the whole purpose of being a citizen. They want to be educated. That's what freedom meant for black folks. That's what freedom meant for black folks. Right? And that's where your freedom, go ahead. That's where your freedom in the comes from. That's General Sherman's, that's a stamp. They got it for a little bit, and then the government took it away. Go ahead, go to the next slide. Go to the next slide. Now, here's the thing. Why was the problem? Because now Lincoln is assassinated. He's out. In comes a man named Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson is a war Democrat, and I'll break down Democrats and Republicans for that time period. It's very similar to today, but it's switched. We'll get to another. We'll spend more about that one. This one is major. See, here's the thing. Andrew Johnson versus radical Republicans. There's three types of Republicans. No, there's two types of Republicans in the Republican Party. The party of Lincoln. You have the radical Republicans, who are all about redistributing land to black folks, civil rights and human rights for black folks. And they wanted, like, if you're a Confederate sympathizer, you will not vote. Then you had these moderate Republicans. These were pro-business Republicans. They're not into land redistribution because, you know, we can make money off that land. Right? I don't mind civil rights and everything else up to a certain point. You know, come on, you know. And Confederate sympathizers, okay, I got you. We can deal with that. But at some point, we gotta make some money because we want to build these railroads, and we want to make some money off of this. So we gotta make sure we can make some money off of this South right here. That's what they want to do. That's what they want to do. Andrew Johnson comes in and says, "Look, you know what? I don't like the fact, even though I don't like white Southerners, and he did not like Southerners. He did not like Southerners. He viewed them as, you know, trash people, as what, yeah, dust eaters. That's what they call. Those are words they used to call poor whites at that time people. Clay eaters, dust eaters. It's a book called White Trash by Allison Eisenberg. It's very good. It's a history of class in America. But he was, and I was reading it, and he was spew these things out. However, when it came down to black folks getting land through Special Order 15, he had an issue with that. I said, no, man, you know that black folks get there. No. So he said, I'm doing amnesty to all you Confederates and all you former slaveholders. I'm doing all that. Right? Yes. That's what he said. He gave an amnesty. He gave wealthy land owners. And then the Freedmen's Bureau gets dissolved over time. It loses power. What I mean by that is this. When the wealthy landowners get their amnesty and get their land back, they begin to hire black folk onto their land, right? They came and took their land for their 42 mule. They said, well, I can hire you as a field hand, but at that time, sharecropping, debt peonage, yeah. But then you're working hours similar to when you were a slave. So when they would go to the Freedmen's Bureau, there was nothing they could do. Because he slowly but surely starts stripping the power away from the Freedmen's Bureau. Let's back up. Let's back up. You know how the Department of Education used to enforce funding for schools and everything else, but now it's slowly getting dissolved, right? Yeah. Figure that. I don't want to use that. I don't want to make a broad generalization like that, but I'll use that as an example where a president come in and say, you know what, I'm going to dissolve this and just strip the power out of this stuff right here, all right? And just strip it all out, right? So that's what happened. This is where the tide turned with Reconstruction, where now it's a political fight in Congress between the president and the radical Republicans. Okay, cool. And that's Andrew Jackson. That's Thaddeus Stevens right there, congressman from Pennsylvania in the middle. And that man on the right is Charles Sumner, a U.S. Senator from New York. If y'all don't know about Charles Sumner, he used to have fistfights in Congress during the 1850s. No, this was the road to the Civil War. And a congressman named Preston Brooks from South Carolina took a stick and beat Charles Sumner in the head. Yes, you need to have those fights. Yeah.
Congress.
Yeah, mainly because, no, this was the birth of the Republican Party. It used to be the Whig Party. Now it's the Republican Party. And it's taken on this idea of, we're not going to expand slavery. And he's from South Carolina. He's a Democrat. He said, what? We're going to expand slavery? That's when you had fistfights in Congress. So, yeah, be mindful if you get your law degree, sister, you want to run for Congress. Be mindful, you almost had that sometimes during the MAGA Republicans. Cursing and everything and doing, yeah.
There's been fights that very recent within the last 5 years.
No, remember the U.S. Senator from Oklahoma putting the fight the Teamsters guy? Yeah, that was funny. But I'll let y'all do that. But no, those things happen. And those fights get ready to broke one more time. So they had to impeach Jack Johnson, get him out of there. They bring in Ulysses Grant. And now Congress said, we're going to take a bigger step in this thing called Reconstruction. And why? Because here's the thing. But yes. Here's the thing. There's tons of violence in the South. Tons of violence in the South. Black folks building their communities, and you have white mobs coming and they're burning them down. Yes, you do that. Yeah. The Sofax massacre, where you see 100 black folks being killed and shot at. And to the radical Republicans, they say, hey, wait a minute, man, this thing is crazy. It's lawless down there. You got to ensure these people have some rights. For the moderate Republicans who are pro-business, figure your current Democratic Party today, the radical, like Bernie Sanders, AOC, and those new Democrats, those moderate Democrats who debate everything. Charles Sumner. Yeah. Right, yeah, I mean, yeah. Think of that. To the moderate Republicans, they're like, hey, wait a minute, man, we want to make some money down in the South. We need to cut that out. In comes something called the Union League. Now the U.S. Congress is going to get involved in Reconstruction. And now the Republican Party said we need to create a political machine and create a constituency. So for the first time, you have these constituencies. White Southerners who were pro-union, and you didn't have them. Oh, that term scalawag, that's a very derogatory term that pro-Confederate used towards Southern whites who support the Union. Scalawag, yes. Yeah. Folks use that term in Alabama.
I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
like the N-word.
Yeah. Carpetbagger, the white North. Well, that's another term. That's a term that's probably used where if I come, like someone from the North, a white person from the North who comes down south to make money, it wasn't always the case. This is who they were calling the missionaries and those who were being involved in the Freedomsburg schools. That's who they were. And of course, now African Americans, black men. Now black men have the right to vote. In this Congress, you have the 13th Amendment being passed. What did the 13th Amendment do? Oh, Lord.
It wasn't. I know what it is, but I don't want to be wrong, so I'm going to say nothing.
Go ahead. Oh, what is the 13th? Hey, Dallas, do you know what the 13th Amendment does? No? She go, I doubt.
She said she's coming up here.
You got it?
She was.
You got it, Dallas?
Well, someone by now has Googled it. Come on.
Google pause. Okay, I'm gonna guess and be wrong.
Good.
Did it give black people the right to vote?
No, Dallas, you said something.
It abolished slavery.
Yes.
So maybe it was like,
would have been correct.
it made it
Yeah.
legal, jail, going to jail.
Yeah.
Wait, what about jail? Oh, enslavement except for if you're.
Yeah. That comes later with convict leasing and everything else. I mean, I could go into it, and that's covered in Reconstruction. That happens in Jim Crow, but if you want to talk about that, we can. It's okay. But there's a lot in Reconstruction I want to unpack. So, yes, that 13th Amendment is passed. Now, the 14th Amendment is passed. Now, what is the 14th Amendment? That's your what?
That was voting? Or was that 15?
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. It's kind of
The 14th Amendment?
It says here, eliminated voting rights of Confederate. No.
Citizenship.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't deny someone their citizenship. Yeah.
Including voting.
Yes. Now, of course, the man in the White House and the conservative think tanks, they want to eliminate part of the 14th Amendment to stop, like for immigrants. Yeah, birthright citizenship. Come on, you can't.
The thing is, his son is a birthright citizen. That's why it's like, what are you even talking about? Like,
And his son-in-law.
his
Yeah, because Obama Trump.
Puppet, like, he doesn't actually think of any of this stuff.
No.
he does not. I can't imagine him writing anything, let alone like.
No. No, what's that? No, but you see this stuff. How about this? We're gonna unpack these things later on after this. But no, you have that, and you have now the 15th Amendment. What the 15th Amendment does?
That one's voting rights.
Yes. Okay, we got that. In In slavery, citizenship,
and then you can vote.
and the vote. Well, actually, the state can deny someone from voting. That's what it does, which it can protect you from voting. And this is what the meaning of freedom for black folks is in the 13th Amendment, more or less. This is now the new Republican political machine constituency. Black folks in the South, white Northerners who are pro-union, and white Southerners in the South who are pro-union, and white Northerners as well. Someone in here, yes, came in. Yes, here, come in.
Good morning. Hey everyone, good morning. Not to interrupt, Professor, but I just want to note that the 15th Amendment was only for men.
Yes.
No, yeah. I just wanted to
No, it is. No, I said it in the beginning. You came a little bit, but it's fine. Yeah, I said this is just for black men. Black women won't get the right to vote. Well, those in the North, black women who live in the North won't get the right to vote until 1919 through the 19th Amendment, the Susan B. Anthony bill. However, it is important to note this. Black women did have a say in who you vote for. To sit there and say that black women just on the sidelines not being involved, no. They sat down, they talked, said, look, we gotta vote for this person, and if you didn't vote for that person, you didn't come home. So don't let that get twisted. Black man don't go get the vote. And again, well, it gets violent at these voting polls, right? What you're about to experience is Reconstruction becomes an era where black people get rights. At the same time, it is one of the most violent times in American history. It just is. And you'll begin to see the pattern of what you will see or what happened in black towns, particularly in
Men lokale decline. Prudence decline. And